past haunts us all. Whether it be a person, place, or thing, we are reluctant to let go. We call to the dead out of desperation and intrigue, searching for answers about what lies behind the shadows. We are paranormal researchers. We are Necromancers. Hello, and welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. I am your host, Justin Brown, and welcome to episode 47, I believe, with DeWaine West. It's going to be a very, very cool episode of Necromancer because I know DeWaine pretty well. I've investigated with him, done some film work with the guy, and now we're going to get to know him a little bit more and let you guys know him much, much more if you've not had the chance to talk with DeWaine or learn about his work. So before we do that, we're going to go over to the screen here and talk to the girls and introduce them and see how they're doing, see if they're ready to go. You guys ready? You're ready as you'll ever be? I can't see you. Let's go that. Okay, there you are. So are you excited about tonight's show, Missy? Why not? Yeah, there is no reason to be. I'm sorry to hear that. So how's Missy? Or how's Jessica, rather? Are you ready? All right. Good. So if you're a first-time viewer of this show, this is how the show works. If you have any questions for DeWaine, or if you just, want to make comments that, pertain to, DeWaine's stuff or, anything we're talking about, we'll read them off. We'll shout you out if you comment. So if you want to hear your name or handle on YouTube, shout it out. We will do that if you comment. And periodically, I'll check back with the girls and read off your comments and questions and interact with you guys. So above all things, we want to hear your questions for DeWaine. Yeah, I forgot to unmute you guys. Remember, I had to mute you guys. Sorry. Now you're unmuted. The reason I have to mute you guys is because they can hear us all talk. You can hear you guys all talk on Facebook if I don't. So I just forgot to unmute you guys. Sorry about that. All right, well, here we go. We're going to read off DeWaine's bio here. Okay. DeWaine is a paranormal investigator and ITC researcher from Muncie, Indiana. DeWaine is the co-founder of Seek the Truth Paranormal Investigations and is an investigator for Paranormal Research Unit. Currently a cameraman for Man vs. Paranormal and the creator of the 101 Parabox, which is an ITC device. He has been investigating the paranormal for the last 7 years. Okay, so without further ado, DeWaine, buddy, what's up? What's going on?
How's everyone doing?
I'm doing okay. If I had a producer to help me hit buttons, it would be better.
So, you're doing great. You do a great job, Justin.
Yeah, not with the mute buttons though. So, how should we begin? From the beginning, right? We want to know why you investigate the paranormal. We want to know if you've had any experiences as a younger child, or when you had experiences in your life. Did that have anything to do with why you investigate the paranormal? And we'll start from there.
Well, basically, I started working in Winchester, Indiana back in 2010, and was doing security and was working with some coworkers that wanted to start a paranormal group. So we started Seek the Truth Paranormal Investigations. And we started out basically with the simplest things of an audio recorder and a 8mm video camera to record video. And then our equipment started growing just a little bit, basically from going to having a SB7 spirit box, and then building, a few other small devices, a static detector, you know, and then everything else just started kind of going really well for a couple years with all of the investigators that started the group, and a few of them just kind of fell out of it. I continued it. Went to Paracon at Randolph County Infirmary in 2016. Met Matt Benton and a few of my Facebook friends, and I continued just working from there. Basically, I was tour guide at Randolph County Infirmary from 2016 up to December of 2017. Created my first radio back in November of 2016.
So before we get into the 101 Parabox, have you had any experiences with the paranormal before you became an investigator?
Prior to that, I have had some experiences of feeling that sensation of something around you and stuff like that in odd places, and the different locations that I've been to growing up and everything. Since becoming more involved in the paranormal and talking to everyone and learning how to kind of sense things more than what you normally would do, just it was just this, putting that in your mind. I took my mind of basically, I'll go check and make sure it's not the wind making that tapping noise, or a creak or something. If it could be explained from, if the weather was 90 something degrees that day, there's a possibility that wood could be making that popping noise instead of a spirit making that noise. When you're asking a question, can you make a knocking noise, and you get a response of a knocking noise, and then realize oh, the day was 90 something degrees, and that wood could be making that noise instead of something being paranormal.
Right. So, did these experiences and with feeling a presence around you have anything to do with your interest in the paranormal, or did that kind of just happen after?
It happened, during my investigating different locations since 2011. I've got to investigate several well-known locations. We basically started at a location in Fowler, Indiana, or Benton County, Fowler, Indiana. Benton County Jail was the first location we ever got to investigate, seek the truth. Then we did get to go to the infamous Black Moon Manor that year in 2012 before it got tore down. That was kind of an interesting place of hearing the story about the location, getting to investigate the location, and some of the experiences the other paranormal investigators that went to the location with me had that evening. Did we capture anything paranormal? There's a possibility, no. We could have captured some of the radio or some of the intercom stuff that was going on across the street from the factory. But what did we have any actual paranormal experiences? I'm not really sure, because of that story being told and then finding out later that the location just could have just been an old farmhouse.
So do you feel that actual real paranormal phenomena is rare when you do come across it?
Yeah, I don't think every location you're going to walk into, you're going to have that experience. It takes years of someone that is experienced in the paranormal, that knows energies and stuff like that, to basically be able to walk in I'm going to pick out where that spirit's at. But is it all hocus pocus, magic, or is it a phenomenon we can't explain?
Have you worked with or had any encounters with mediums and psychics who claim they have abilities to speak to the dead or tell if there's anything like that present?
Just a few, and I haven't really got to work with them or anything, but um, I've met quite a few in the last few years.
What do you think about that? What do you think about those people? Have they validated that to you, or is it just you have to take their word for it?
That's the thing. I mean, it's kind of hard to depict when somebody's telling me that what they're feeling on the location, but I'm taking it in, taking that information, and if there is a device that we can make, play around with the spirit that they say that they're communicating with, that would be a great piece of evidence. But I have never actually experienced that evidence.
Right. Hopefully that happens for you because I've had similar or had experiences that's validated for me pretty much a lot through my life. It's kind of started in my early 20s, and it's just gotten more uh, dominant with my mother since I've been taking her with me to cases and working with her. It's been pretty crazy. Um, let's talk about how you met Matt, and let's talk about what how you transitioned from Seek the Truth Paranormal into Paranormal Research Unit. How did that occur? I know you said you met Matt at a convention, but kind of elaborate more on that.
Yeah, it was at Randolph County Infirmary's Paracon, June of 2016. We met there, um, started talking on Facebook and everything, and he was looking for members for his team Paranormal Research Unit. Marcus joined for a while.
Marcus Hogg, right?
Yeah, Hog. And he joined for a while, and they ended up asking me to come to Old Lickett County Jail to fly the drone that I just purchased at the moment, um, to help out with the footage on that. And basically, I ended up joining, I think, right after then. And then he was talking about basically doing the filming for Man versus Paranormal and needed some help with that. So I, jumped in and helped out with any of the film work that I could help with as a secondary cameraman to doing any of the drone flying. And we got all that footage done that he needed to basically get Man versus Paranormal done. And Paranormal Research Unit had, I think, about 3 cases that we done as a, one case as a full group, and then 2 cases as a partial group, and things kind of fell apart from then.
Well, I remember one of the cases that I actually joined you on. It was the
Right,
residential case in Harrison, Ohio, right?
right, correct.
Um, so I know what Matt has told me what he believed was going on there and what the deal was. What did you think about that? Kind of tell a little bit about the case without any names. Give them like a background real quick, and then what did you conclude?
Well, from what I was told about the case is the case started out of state, I believe in Arizona. The family was having some crazy experiences there, like you would see basically out of the movies. A lot of experiences where their son was there. They were waking up, and their son, I think he was, I believe at the time about 12 or 13, something like that, had a knife over his mother's body when she had woken up out of dead sleep, and was threatened to kill her. Um, just all kinds of weird experiences they had. They ended up having a group out of Arizona come and investigate, and they collected evidence of something that was there that was unseen. Um, and they moved to Ohio. And I guess the activity started up again at this location in Ohio. From what I've seen out of the family, just spending the 2 days that I was there, the family was in a chaos. There was one, two, three, four kids living in a home, and I think one dog. And it seemed like a chaos from the time that they woke up to the time that they went to bed with the children. And one of the children, I believe, was autistic, and had some issues where that child needed some attention, and it did not get the attention that child needed. And so the house was very chaotic, but the experiences that they had, I believe, followed them was actually what followed them was something that followed the mother. If it was attached to anyone, I believe it was attached to the mother, if the entity actually followed them.
Right. So
But
one of the claims was actually like we seen. Didn't she take a picture of all the doors, the cabinet doors, and drawers pulled out in her kitchen, kind of like the movie Poltergeist?
right, yes.
And
And what was kind of funny is the first evening that I stayed there, that next morning I captured, I believe it was the 4-year-old climbing up the kitchen cabinets on security camera, getting up to the top cabinets to get something out of there to eat. So, I mean, is that a possibility that child was going through all the cabinets, opened up all the cabinets, and
that'd be
mom and
funny.
dad woke up the next morning? Holy shit, you know?
Hmm.
So I can't, I got to throw that out possibly as it was the child that may have done that, not nothing paranormal.
Right. That'd be funny if they found out it was the kid. It's like I was hungry, couldn't find anything.
Right.
So, do you think it was a spirit that was tormenting the mother, or do you believe it was something that was actually she was manifesting and emanating from her own psyche?
I believe it may have been from the mother. From just the short time that I stayed there during that investigation, and just the information that I seen in the 2 days that I was there, it seemed
Right.
like it may have stemmed from the mother.
Hopefully, we'll see that investigation be released. I know Matt's been sitting on it for a long time, but I'd be interested to see it edited in a form where we can watch everything that happens. So, yeah, that's
Right.
crazy. We're going to go over to the girls real quick and do some shout outs, see if there's any questions, and then we'll start talking about the parabox.
You want me to go first? Okay. I have Deborah Sosby. I have Sam Thomas. I have R.J. Murphy. I have Derek Schreiner. I have Heather Elliott. I have Josh Bender, Matt Benton, Bill Davis, Jamie just jumped on, and I have no questions at this point.
All right, that's awesome. Thanks for joining us on Facebook. How about YouTube?
Okay, Sam was also on Deity Small Town Investigations. Sandy, Buzzard, and that's it. And the same. No questions or comments just yet.
That's the only people on YouTube that commented?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know it's
We have like
Wednesday. It's
nine.
usually
We have
I'm
like
busy.
9 or 10 viewers, so that's crazy
Yeah.
on YouTube. That is. All right. Well,
Bill Davis said, I think DeWaine is torturing a squirrel.
Oh, because of the squeaking?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the feedback from my audio into his speaker or into his microphone. He can't help it. Just do it quickly. Kill the squirrel quickly, DeWaine. Don't let it suffer. Yeah, DeWaine says the episode of the residential case we're talking about is halfway edited, and it was like over a year ago. That's funny. All right, DeWaine, what motivated you to build your own radio sweep device?
Well, basically, I'm not building the radio itself. I'm using the SB7 or SB11 spirit box
Right.
that's already built. Basically, what I did was just basically build an amplified system in a old radio cabinet using a few effects pedals as a delay pedal to have the what comes through repeat more than once, the radio is what is basically doing all the work on any kind of spirit communication of picking them up and then using the electronics that's inside as the delay pedal. And this first box, I basically put a compressor in it to kind of compress the sound a little bit to where when you're running, a static radio that has white noise static, it wasn't so loud and killing someone's ears within 5 minutes of listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up having to go to a noise gate to actually compress the sound just a little bit more. And in the new boxes, they have a delay pedal that has 7 different delays you can choose from, and then a reverse delay in the 101 Parabox. So you're running a FM scan or AM scan, you can have it going in reverse. And then if you have something coming through forward through that reverse delay, could be spirit communication.
How do you believe? What is your belief or theory on how the spirits use that setup to communicate?
Well, it's basically through the EMF of the RF frequency that the radio is picking up to basically modulate what they want to through the radio. And then when it's coming through the delay pedal, they can also manipulate the reversement of the audio for what I can't explain the short little video that I just done a few weekends ago of the FM scan radio going through reverse delay, and it said my name. And then it said, it's me. And then basically I asked who said my name. I got a response of a male voice that said, I'm William.
So
That
you were using.
That's kind of hard to explain.
You heard it on the reverse delay.
Yes.
Okay.
I just reposted the video today.
Okay. Yeah, because I've done quite a bit of ITC research myself, and I always ask other ITC researchers what they're striving to prove or try to find validation for when they're doing these things. And a lot of people have the ideas where, if they reverse something, it makes it less likely that something will come across normally. Like, you should not hear anything that's coherent at all when it's reversed. With that being said, do you believe that if you reverse something, that it's impossible for it to sound like any other word that we can understand?
No, because you can play any kind of music backwards and you can hear backward messaging in quite a bit of songs.
Okay.
I know you talked about that on an episode about, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, all those people, Judas Priest, Dio, all these metal bands, these people Bible thumpers, if you want to call them, was into basically playing their music backwards and hearing voices. It's possible of hearing voices in reverse,
Mm-hmm.
but
So what?
with the right, with the right devices, is it possible for spirit to communicate through reverse technology? I don't see why not.
That's what you're trying to figure out, basically, is what you're saying.
Right.
And so far, you've got some evidence and some recordings that's got you scratching your head. And definitely people is going to check that out when we plug all your stuff. Of course, everything's linked in the video descriptions, but they can check that out so they can see for themselves. I don't know if you quite told me what motivated you to do that. I know you do you think that the housings that you use have anything to do with helping the spirit communication, or is just an aesthetic that you like?
Well, I mean, is it a possibility that these boxes were once carried or owned by a person that's deceased? I don't know. Could their spirit be attached to the box? I don't know. Oddly, the reply that I just got just a couple weekends ago on the box, and the place that I'm part of working at now in Winchester, the 101, there is documentation of two Williams that was in that building, and I believe a third person that may be actually documented being part of the Civil War that was in that building that I've investigated here in the last year, using my box, but just recently started using the one-on-one pair of boxes there. Could that spirit of William trying to communicate with me want me to tell his story? I don't know.
We have a couple questions I want to go ahead and get to. I know Facebook, Heather Elliott had a question, and then I seen Buzzer33 had a question.
Yeah, Heather's question was, did you ever catch anything interesting on the 8mm?
No, we only used that for the first couple investigations until we ended up getting a actual digital camera that we actually converted to full spectrum.
And that's the only question I have.
Yep. At first, when I first played back the first recording, I thought I captured something until I found out that I recorded over a video of my kids at choir at church. So when I was playing back the first part of the video, I was hearing in between the fades all these kids singing and everything, and I was like, what the hell did I just hear? And then I realized what I did was I recorded over video, and that was not a very good thing to do when you're trying to do paranormal investigating.
No. Oops.
So I should have started out with a clean 8mm camera.
Right.
Because video.
Buzzard's question on YouTube, does DeWaine think that a spirit can attach to a piece of investigating equipment?
It's possible. There have been all these stories on TV of the Dibbit box and all these other items, Annabelle. If spirits can attach them their spirit to those items, furniture, why not a spirit box or a radio?
Right. People have believed that spirits and entities could use such devices for a very, very long time, since they've been invented, actually. So, do you think that over time, since the inception of radios to present, do you think that's been a sufficient amount of time for an alleged entity or spirit to know how to manipulate the device, or do you think each person has to learn how to modulate, RF or whatever they do, whatever your theory is, do you think that there's a learning curve?
Well, the research I've done in the last few years on ITC radios, there's some radios you can change the sweep rate, and there's some radios that just have a certain sweep rate once they're hacked. It's odd that it doesn't matter if the sweep rate is at 200 or if the sweep rate is at 500 milliseconds. You can still get responses, but how well you're going to hear them is entirely how well you listen to your audio back on your recordings and stuff. I've run the SB11 Spirit Box, running AM forward and FM in reverse, and picked up something that I couldn't explain at a location that I hadn't, I didn't think that I was going to walk away with anything on this location. But I had a conversation of something responding to us when we was asking questions, and we couldn't hear nothing from the radio besides the white noise. But when I went back on the audio of 2 cameras that I used to record everything, there was a conversation with us. Like, I asked about an entity that was seen by the doorway of this bedroom, and I got a response, "It's a demon," through the static. And then a second later, what sounded like a child's voice said, "No, it's not," which was really odd. And we didn't hear any of this.
Was that voice present on both cameras or just one?
It got picked up on both cameras through the static, what was being played through the SB11. I had one camera closer to the SB11.
Okay. So do you think it had something to do with how the microphones were picking it up and how different that was versus your human ear?
Right. Because we were basically, I mean, most of the time you could hear a few responses coming through that were sort of audible, but at the time, all I was hearing through the SB11 was nothing but a lot of static and some, I call, radio hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had the antenna on the off position, so where it should not have been picking up any voices from radio.
Interesting.
On the antenna setting.
All right, Buzzard has another question. It's like a second part question, right?
Yes. He was the one that asked about a spirit being attached to a piece of investigating equipment. He wanted to know, would that affect the way that the equipment worked?
Well, I mean, I would think if it has an attachment, you would be getting the same, or anytime this spirit wanted to communicate with you, you should be able to get that response most of the time. Whenever you ask a question, if you ask a certain question, you should be able to get a certain response. Is that possible all the time? No, not all the time.
Do you think that the ITC methods that you use and a lot of other people use, do you think that makes for a more steady or more secure connection between the communication between what's there paranormal wise and you? Or do you think that it just happens when it happens and there's really no clear cut way or a way to communicate more effectively than you could otherwise?
There's been times when I've kicked it on just to mess with and ask questions, and all I hear is jarble. I'll go to a location, and not just myself, other investigators that are around me are hearing the same responses. I don't know how to explain that, but especially when you're using possibly an app and everything that is designed by ITC researchers,
Mm-hmm.
that's using reverse language stuff, and it's not supposed to be putting out forward speech whatsoever, but you have more than one person hearing forward speech coming out of it.
Right. What I like to do is I rely more on the voices coming out of white noise, and I just try to use pure white noise because I think you can't say that it's, you're interpreting a radio channel or a station a certain way, but if it comes out of the white noise, that's just absolutely not supposed to happen. So that's what I try to do. I know that you mentioned the SB11. There's a question on Facebook concerning the Gary Galka devices, if you want to go ahead and ask that.
He wants to know, do you prefer the SB7 or the SB11 and why?
I've worked with both of them. The actual first time we ever worked with one was the SB7, and that was back in 2012 when we went to a farmhouse in Benton County. We went back for a second investigation of the jail, and we went to an old farmhouse there, and that place was kind of odd. I've never heard a radio give so many responses when we were asking questions, and it seemed like every time we would ask a question, this radio, not just through radio snippets of voices you would hear through the radio, but you would hear voices through the static of the radio too respond to us. My investigator Mark, he did an experiment by tapping SOS out on the floor, and we got a response that came through the radio. It said what he tapped out SOS in Morse code on the floor. That was compelling.
Yeah. Now, do you mainly use the 101 Parabox, or do you have another method of or a tool that you use when you investigate that you like more or as much?
Well, I mean, basically, when I built my box, I built it to run not just the SB7 or 11, but any kind of radio that you wanted to plug into it to communicate with. I ended up later adding a tablet and started using ITC apps that you could download and everything. I just found out how to hack a very simple FM radio, and that's what I've been also installing on the 101 Parabox. And it's a very fast scan on this radio once you hack the radio. And I've noticed that it has some difficulties of picking up frequencies in certain locations. For them to use the audio from radio, it does pick up some static on some channels and everything. So if the spirit is able to manipulate anything of the radio, they should be able to manipulate FM scan.
Right. Do you want to fire one up so they can hear what it sounds like?
Sure.
Might as well, right? Because I'm sure that someone can get a hold of one of your boxes for far less than some of the others are going, right?
I'm starting them out at 1100.
Oh.
You get the box, the FM scan, an SB11 Spirit box that has AM, FM, and then a 7-inch tablet is added to the boxes.
Okay. What do you have a radio sweep device hooked up to it now?
Yeah, it's the FM. The FM scan radio.
Okay.
So basically, what you're hearing is all in reverse. Would you like to say hello to anyone?
It's pretty quiet.
It has a no static scan.
The first time I heard the device you're running through it, it was Eric Connor of Epic Paranormal. We were out at the TNT bunkers at Point Pleasant for the Mothman Fest, and that's what it did. It was quiet. It didn't show any of the static.
I mean, like there are a few channels that will pick up. It depends on the area that you're at on the radio frequencies you could pick up, or the EMF that you're picking up on what's coming through.
Yeah, Sandy, right now he's using an FM tuner, but he does use apps too. Can you kind of elaborate on what an FM tuner does and what it is?
It's just an FM band scan running in a very fast scan rate. It probably runs, I'm going to say, probably about 200 milliseconds. I don't know if you can see the screen right.
Also, DeWaine, I noticed that you use 2 coils on the back of it. Is that an AM antenna?
Yeah, it's an AM antenna. So if you're running an AM radio,
those are pretty big antennas. Those
Yeah.
are pretty hefty. Normally, they're not that big, I don't think.
No, they don't have to be, no.
Do you try to find specific housings for it, or what do you try to look for?
Yeah, I was basically looking for any of the retro boxes that still look modern, but that also some of them that had the older style, retro style. We did some in a jukebox. Did a couple of those. And then another cathedral style.
I think I like that the best.
This one lights up as like the same color as the square box, the purple full spectrum, and then it has the green LEDs, and then the tablets mounted on the back, and the radio. They have a 12-volt power pack that's rechargeable.
I know someone earlier, they wanted to hear the video that you posted. Do you want me to go ahead and show them that on the show right now? I can real quick.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to go to Facebook and bring that up for you guys real quick. Is it on your Facebook or 101 Parrot Cafe?
It's on both.
Okay, so I'll just look on yours. And we'll bring it up for you guys. I think. Come on. Help me out here, Facebook. There you go. So, I guess I'm going to look in your photos and see if it pops up on video. Is that the best way to look for it? Maybe not. Let's see here. See if I can... No, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to go in your timeline and scroll down. Hopefully you don't post a million things. There we go. Is it the crazy respawn using reverse delay?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll blow this up.
Who said my name?
We're gonna go back to the beginning, so listen carefully.
Hello. Who said my name? That was weird. Thanks.
So there we have that. Yeah, there's definitely stuff that sounded like your name. It was almost like
That man right there, number 4, Brett Favre. They're going to give Brett Favre a chance. Going to complete.
We're listening to football on the show. Auto plays a bitch. Okay, there we go. So yeah, there is one example. If anybody wants to hear any more responses from the devices he does, let me know. I'm sure he has a few more uploaded. So any questions, any comments, any new viewers popping on that we want to shout out?
I don't have any.
Okay. Jess?
I have Spirit Stalker joins.
Hello.
And well, I think you already answered. Sandy asked if he uses an app. I think you answered that.
Yeah,
A few.
You were using the portal at the Monroe house, right?
Yeah, I use the Portal app that Matt Payne makes, the Solomon app that Matt Payne makes for Matt Benton. I've also used the Banshee app that Matt Payne made for Christopher Rocky. I've been testing out a few other ones. I've used the Echo Box in the past and had some weird responses to that. I haven't really started a YouTube page. I was operating Seek the Truth there for a while, and then once I started working with Matt, I kind of let that go. But I haven't started up a YouTube page personally myself. I just been posting stuff, live feeds and stuff like that on Facebook. And when I get responses of things and stuff, it's basically live on Facebook.
I've noticed that you worked with the Foreman brothers, the Living Dead Paranormal, a couple times. What's it like investigating with those guys?
I only got to basically help out at their public investigation there at the 101. They're really cool guys to work with. They have experienced quite a bit apparently through the I think going on 15 some plus years that they've been doing it, and some of the locations that they've been to. They're really great guys to work with.
Yeah, I've always wanted to meet them. They live like an hour and a half away from me, and I haven't yet met them yet. And they just released a new episode that was pretty interesting on YouTube. Did you see that?
Yeah, I started watching that this morning. Haven't got a chance to finish it yet.
Yeah, I haven't finished it either. But out of everybody, go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
Has there been an investigation at any kind of location, residential or whatnot, that you regretted undoing, or that you regretted that you didn't get to do?
Not yet. I mean, well, there's been only one investigation. I kind of regretted having to drive up long drive, and then all of a sudden the team fell apart. But other than that, no,
Okay.
it's been a fun adventure of investigating the paranormal and the teams that I've got to join. I've also got to work with Muncie Paranormal here in Muncie. I've got to work with a few other teams. it's, it's always fun to help other investigators at a location just to see what we can capture or not capture, just to have a good time. If
Sure.
you're not having a good time doing this, I don't know why you're doing it.
Sandy just asked, what is the scariest place you've been to?
Let's see. I've been to Waverly Hills. I've been to Bobby Mackey's. Been to Whisper Estates. Been to the Satan's tunnels in Ohio, wherever that was called. I can't remember exactly what city that was in. Sewer lines down underneath the streets. That was interesting. Did we have a paranormal experience? No, but we got wet feet the whole evening. We was down in the sewer lines. Got to check out the Monroe House. Got to check out Randolph County Infirmary, of course. Done a few residentials. Some of the residentials that I did did capture a few things on Spirit Box that wasn't explainable when we were asking questions, with the people that were having any experiences with them present during the SB7 Spirit Box sessions. The scariest places, I don't know. I don't think I've had an actual experience of a scary place besides possibly Waverly Hills. Being down in the death tunnel was kind of freaky, knowing how many folks had actually been willed down through that tunnel.
Yeah, Waverly Hills, especially if you're in any part of the building by yourself, is very intimidating.
Yeah.
I have one final question for you. What have you learned during your research? What is the thing that you've learned the most throughout your quest to find the paranormal or try to experience it and to find evidence for it?
Well, I mean, I've met quite a bit of people in the last few years, and I've seen quite a bit of egos, and I've seen some good people that I met that I kind of hated losing friendship with them. And I think it was all over due to a matter that I can't really discuss. I won't discuss it anymore. The situation is no longer something that I need to discuss. But a lot of people that I've met are really good people. There are, a lot of good people out here trying to find the answer to what happens after we pass away. So, to each and everyone experience of, experiencing any kind of paranormal experience, it's, one thing I can explain is some of the ITC research stuff that I've been doing here lately, of some of the stuff I've captured, I can't explain. Is explainable? Possibly. I'm sure Justin may have an explanation of that on how do you explain to me, though, something in reverse sounding so clear? And is it something to do with my hearing or?
No, I think if you reverse something, it can sound exactly like a word.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens quite a bit. There is a thing called pareidolia, that when you hear something that kind of sounds like a word, you kind of perceive it as that word. But like in the clip that we watched, it actually said DeWaine. So I believe that, when you reverse some things, it sounds very, very close or exactly like what you're doing. Now, it could be manipulation. It could be just, it sounding exactly like it in reverse. So we need to take a step further and try to validate it. Now I've come up with a setup to do that. So if you did not watch that Tech Talk Live or that Necromancer Live I did with that setup, I will link it to you, and it may give you some ideas on how to further validate some things.
Right on.
But we really don't know. You know what I'm saying, DeWaine? We really don't know one way or the other. You know, it's right now a lot of the stuff we do is based on the belief. That's why I try to focus on absolutes, things you can be absolutely positive about, which is difficult.
Right.
It takes a lot of the fun out of the paranormal right now. You know what I mean? I'm a Debbie Downer to a lot of people because people get excited. They put a lot of belief and faith into the work that they're doing, and it doesn't make you a popular person to go around trying to debunk everything. But I think that's necessary. If you try to cross things off the list, you'll get closer to what is actually going on instead of just believing something, very easily that it's just paranormal is not the greatest way to do it.
No. You always got to be a skeptic to a certain level.
Right. I think you are, DeWaine. I think you got the right mindset. But just keep learning. That's what I do. Just keep learning, try new things, and just push the envelope. We got a couple minutes left. Do you want to plug some stuff? Like, tell the viewers how they can follow your work and where to find your stuff.
Well, basically, I work for the 101 Para Cafe in Winchester, Indiana. We also have a Facebook page called 101 Para Box, where the boxes are listed at. We'll be getting some more photos and stuff of the boxes on there, and there will be a link to a website where anyone that wants to purchase one can go to that website and purchase one or contact the page. Man versus Paranormal. Don't forget everyone to check that out. I'm very glad that I was able to be a part of that. And I want to thank everyone for viewing and commenting.
Yeah, we've had quite a bit. Between Facebook and YouTube, it's been between 20 and 25. So there's people out there, checking out the podcast and getting to know you and learn about the stuff that you do, which is really, really cool. That's the meaning behind the show and what I do. A lot of the people I have on the show, I don't know at all, but that's not the case tonight. So I'm glad that. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. Sandy just asked if you can post a link. I'm thinking to DeWaine's information, like his Facebook pages.
The links are in the description. Is she on YouTube?
Yeah, she's on YouTube.
Okay, if you go to the description of this video, it's there. And the top, I can't point to it. This top corner right here, you're going to see a little circle with an eye. You click on that, and that won't take you to any of the DeWaine stuff, I don't think. It's in the description. So look there.
Yeah, because I'm not started the YouTube page yet, but I will be.
I can let me go ahead and just link it for her. I'll do the 101 Para Cafe.
Thank you.
Well, there's two pages for the cafe. There's Para Cafe Facebook page, and then there's a 101 page.
Do you want to do the 101?
Yeah. And then there's the 101 Para Box page.
Okay, here's the 101 Para Box. I'll have to go on YouTube and do it there. So I will link that now. Let's see here. Where's the chat? There it is. There's that. And we see if we can go to just 101. There we go. That's a very strange name for a page, but it works. Just 101.
Well, the whole location, it's at 101 Main Street in Winchester. The location has I think 3 or 4 addresses. So she just went with the first address that was located there, 101.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. So thanks again, DeWaine, for coming on the show. It's been cool to actually have you on the show so we can help promote, the Parabox and let everyone get to know you a little bit more. Hopefully you get some followers and get people interested.
Thank you.
All right, DeWaine, if you want to, you can hang out on this call. I'm going to go ahead and conclude the show. If not, you can go ahead and hang up. And if you do, you have a good night.
All right, man.
All right, there you have it, guys. DeWaine West. Check out the Parabox at 101 Parabox on Facebook. Follow what he's doing. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you send him a friend request. His name is DeWaine West on Facebook. You might want to message him and say, hey, I saw you on Necromancer, be my friend now. But thanks for tuning in, guys. You guys are always great. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, but next week, I think we have RJ Murphy, a very, very cool person, a very good investigator, and a Patreon of the channel. So I'm really, really excited to do that. Next week we have Soapbox at Tuesday at 8 p.m. Again, I don't know what the topic will be, but I'll throw up a poll to let you guys vote on that. We'll go over here to the links. Check us out at www.interfacedeath.net for everything that we do on the interwebs. We're going to talk more about patreon.com just here in a minute, and check out the Necromancer live show on Facebook, and you can check out Interface Death on Twitter and Instagram. So Patreon, it's important. Okay, the reason why it's important is these shows, the content, the video production that we do is possible because of these people. I have done a heck of a lot of growing and a heck of a lot of upgrades to my production value just because of the names you see on the screen. Clay Borman, RJ Murphy, Jeanette Goldrip, Jessica Bias, Scotty Fox, and a very brand new patron, Sherry Brett. Okay, she just pledged last night, actually. So a big thanks goes out to them. Without them, this content would not be possible. If you are interested in supporting this content on these shows and everything we do under www.interfacedeath.net, please check out Patreon. You get special rewards depending on how much you pledge and what tier you choose to use. So there is that. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for joining us once again. Check us out next week. You guys are in my heart. I love you all. You mean a lot to me. And I hope I see you again on the next live stream. Keep updated for what we do because I'm going to plan something special for Halloween. I got a couple things in mind, so just stay tuned. You'll find out. If you're a first-time viewer, stick around. Check out these video promotions. As always, I'll see you next time.
What was that?
I don't know. I feel like I can't breathe in this room.
Generally, Justin, when you guys investigate, do you just take long pauses and wait to see if you hear things and observe everything that's going on?
It depends on the location and our experience with the location. So in this case, at Waverly Hills, since we've been here before, we've heard a lot of stories, done a lot of research, and investigated. we typically like to listen a lot because we hear the call.